Well, he's always told me, he's like, the drums are the most important part. He's like the drums and the bass are the pillar of Atheist, and he's the hardest on me. Also, there's no metronome, there's no click or any of that. So I'm really trying to conduct this like organized chaos. So he puts a lot of trust in me, and I want to come through. So and like a couple nights on tour, every venue is different. Sometimes you get some monitors that are like 80 years old and you can't hear, and then all of a sudden things aren't landing where they should. And, it's like me and Kelly are both the type of guy where if we like, miss a few things in a show, we're like pissed off. Like that day off we had in Croatia, I was pissed off all day.
Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt Migaki, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast. The Vox and Hops Metal Podcast is brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians, talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. This Vox and Hops episode is presented by Heavy Montreal. Heavy Montreal are Montreal's premier metal promoter. They present a bunch of amazing shows all year long here in Montreal. And trust me when I say this to you, if you are ever in Montreal and you are looking for a great show to go to, well, Heavy Montreal will most definitely have you covered. I'm beyond stoked to have Heavy Montreal behind the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast. Now, before we jump into today's episode, I'd just like to ask you to follow the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast on the podcast platform of your choice. But more than that, I would love for you to tell a friend about the podcast. If there's someone in your life that just loves listening to in-depth conversations, in-depth interviews with metal musicians, well, you should definitely let them know that the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast exists. If you would encourage one of your friends to become a brand new Vox and Hops head, that would be something that I would truly appreciate. Now, today on the podcast, I'm very stoked to be with Dylan Marks of Atheist. Get ready, everyone. This is Vox and Hops episode number 456.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm with Dylan Marks. We are on tour in Europe together on the Unquestionable Blasphemy Tour. We are now approaching the end of the tour. We are in Ghent, Belgium. We're at Dok Brewing, and we've been wanting to do this podcast for a while, and we're doing it today because we had some time, and it's a delicious beer place. Let's start with a very simple, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm unquestionably great. Unquestionably we're in Ghent, which I believe is going to give, some people some trouble on stage when they have to say that later.
I'll just scream it, yeah!
Yeah.
Let me hear you, yeah! And then you'll laugh later when I do that. So we're in short, you play drums for Atheist. You're in a bunch of other projects as well. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes.
It's been a very easy tour.
How am I to live with?
You're very, very, very pleasant. You're always in a good mood.
Oh, okay,
you're always
good.
Smiling.
Yeah.
You're always, anytime you help or do anything, you say thank you. For like every single thing that I do, thank you.
Hell yeah.
Every symbol,
Well, Matt, for the listener, leads by example. That's what he does. So when this pillar is doing things and moving drums, and it's like everyone has to follow suit.
It sort of works, though.
Yeah.
Why complain when you can just...
Yeah, it's also funny because we both work with kids, and you're like, I'm just going to start doing that right thing so that they'll, you know what I mean?
That's true, and that's sick. What are we drinking? It's Vox and Hops.
Okay, so actually this is very interesting for the podcast. So I popped the keg on my Riesling sour IPA. So then he hooked up a new keg and then topped me off in another glass. So I literally have, as he gave it to me, he said, this is going to be interesting. You've got bottom of the keg and top of the keg. And maybe there'll be a difference.
There might just be, because the yeast might have fallen down to the bottom
the
version.
top of the keg I sipped first because it was small. And it's a punch in the face. I guess that's the sour part of sour IPA.
Hell yes, on my side I got a salty Gose with watermelon.
Salty?
Yes, so Goses are salty sour beers.
Oh wow!
Cheers!
Cheers, bro.
We got it.
Nice. I gotta taste the other one.
Wait. So this is the top of the keg now?
No, this is the bottom of the keg. Completely different.
Really?
Yeah. That punch
is not there.
Very subdued. And the other one, very different.
Very interesting.
No kidding.
You think same beer, same batch?
Yeah.
2 kegs, bottom of a keg versus top of a keg. Totally changed the beer experience. You're blowing my mind.
Yes, I'm blowing my own mind.
Take me back to your very first beer. Do you remember your first beer that you ever drank?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think I was like 5, and
Wow.
my dad had an MGD, a Miller Genuine Draft in the can, and I was just like, hey, can I have a sip of that? And he's like, you're not going to like it. And I drank it, and he was right. Actually, beer took me a long time to break through that wall and be able to.
Where did it go from? Obviously at 5 years old, you're not going to get into drinking.
Yeah, no, but right around 2nd grade, that's where things really. No, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, I started off as like an IPA guy because when I started drinking, because I thought to myself, hey, you know what? I could just drink 2 of them, and you know what I mean? I've never been a guy who will take down 28 Tecatis in a night because they're mostly water. It's like I usually want something more flavorful. But then now I've sort of chilled out. My favorite is a blonde.
Really? Just this nice, smooth.
Yeah, they're good. And Riptide Brewing in North Park, they have this one called Body Surfing Blonde. It's 7%. It's maybe my favorite beer in the world.
Hell yeah,
so
man.
Shout out to them.
That's amazing. I love that. Soundtrack of your youth. Now, you had a very interesting youth because we've been talking, we've been hanging out, and we've been having lots of conversations.
Yes, that's what it's like on tour.
Late at night.
Yeah.
So we've had certain conversations, and I might not remember what the answer is. So.
Okay, that's great.
So I know that you grew up in South Africa.
So my parents are from Zimbabwe. And then I was born in the United States, but I spent a lot of my childhood in Zimbabwe. And then since then, a lot of family has moved to South Africa. So a lot of South African, Zimbabwe, stuff growing up.
And how did it affect the classic Vox and Hops question is the soundtrack of your youth when you were growing up? What was playing in your house? What was coming out of the radios? What did your parents listen to?
Both my parents are hippies. I'm named after Bob Dylan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. My dad's a Stevie Ray Vaughan, Santana. We would watch the Woodstock video of the old one. And then my mom likes a lot of world music. Ishmael Lowe from Senegal, I grew up listening to, and a lot of tribal stuff. And I feel like it's has gone into my sort of, I like weird drums and
You're definitely a very happy drummer.
Cool.
You look like you're in your happy place.
That's good.
When you're playing drums.
That's great.
Very
I am in my happy place.
Very expressive.
Yeah. Especially when the shows are going this well. You know what I mean? Because guys, I'm on tour right now with Matt, and I watch Cryptopsy every night. And these guys are slamming.
Well, thank you.
It's cool.
You guys as well.
Thank you. But I feel like we're just going on the road and we're just we're killing it, and it feels good, especially for times when it doesn't.
It does happen sometimes, and hopefully not any time coming soon. Maybe in the next 10 days it could happen because we're not on tour anymore.
Yes.
What would have been the first band that you brought into the house that you exposed your parents to?
I got my dad into Iron Maiden. And
really?
I took my dad to an Iron Maiden concert when I was 17.
Wow.
Because I went to my first one with my friend, and then the next one I was going to, I was just like, Dad, you should just come. Because I know you'll like this. And now he's a big metalhead.
That's so cool.
And my first CD was Queen, A Night at the Opera.
Really?
And I feel like that's a pretty good one.
That's a very good start for sure. What about your first shows? I'm sure your parents brought you to see some show when you were young.
My first concert was Pearl Jam in 2000 at the Sports Arena in San Diego.
Wow. And
what's funny is, because I only started playing music when I was 16, so I hated it. I was literally.
You were bored?
I was. They were still playing, and I was like, "Can we go? I'm over it," And I remember I
And how old were you then? In 2000. 10. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I remember I accidentally spilled 2 beers of people sitting next to me at once. I kicked them.
They loved you.
And I was like, "Oh shit, sorry."
Sorry, that's $38.
Yeah, I was like, "Well, I'm a kid. What are you gonna do?"
Where's my popcorn?
Yeah.
And then why did it take so long to get into playing music? What was the spark that changed that?
I was just getting behind the drums. My brother had a drum set for a summer, and I sat down and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then literally I bought a drum set with my bar mitzvah money.
Really?
Yeah. And I still have that drum set. I've only ever owned 2 drum sets. I have my Pearl and I have my Yamaha.
The OG.
Yeah. And I keep it around for like small gigs and stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, it's like I say to people, drums it's a wooden cylinder. Like something horrible has to go wrong for it to not sound good.
It's
like,
true.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. And what about drums? What you sat down, you started playing drums. You wanted to have your own. What was it about the drums that just dragged you in?
I just liked it. I think I was good at it from the beginning.
You had like a natural sense of rhythm?
Yeah. And I could sort of like put 2 ideas together and be like, oh, then I guess that would be this. And I was able to sort of figure out a lot of stuff.
Just by listening to music and then sitting down, you would be able to decipher.
Or like even like sitting down on the couch, like before I had a drum set, I could like drum on my lap and sort of I realized like, oh, it's all the same idea. Like I figured out how to play like songs just like on my lap.
Interesting.
Just like thinking about, the different elements.
Did you go to school after that for music?
Yeah.
Because you seem very, I've sat in the back lounge with you and Chris is like, can you do this? I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, the famous 5/3 polyrhythm. Yeah.
Exactly, which I don't understand to this. I've seen you both do it, but so you definitely just
I learned
did it right
theory
away.
in college.
Okay, so you went to school for music after.
Yeah, I went to a few different schools. I went to Hofstra University, and that was sort of like my theory boot camp.
Okay,
and then I studied music at like community colleges too. But and then once I kind of figured everything out, I kind of just went with it on my own. So that's how I taught myself how to play guitar and bass.
Oh, you play guitar and bass? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. And like my band Beekeeper, I'm the composer.
Wow.
So I write the guitar, the bass, even the vocal melodies and stuff.
Just an all-around jack.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome. Well-rounded musician.
I appreciate it.
And
it helps. You need it for like Atheist because it's so weird. And then like a couple songs, I just learned how to play them on guitar.
And then you understood.
And then I was like,
parts?
oh, I get it, because I could just imagine the riff. Because like a riff is sort of like a maze with like one way back if you're just looping it.
Correct.
But drums, it's like you're hitting the same. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of get lost in it. So if like you learn the riffs, it's like, oh yeah, it does that thing, and there's that little and then I can like put a name on it. But yeah.
Your first time on stage, what would be that first show for you?
My high school had a rock band class, which was pretty cool.
Super sick.
It's like akin to like a jazz combos class where
except you're playing AC/DC.
Yeah, and like Slayer and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
How does that start? Is that like it comes from the teacher, or?
It's funny because the teacher, it was very laissez-faire. Like they kind of just broke us up into bands, and each week it was like, all right, this is Beatles week. Pick a Beatles song, you're playing it on Friday.
Wow.
And then the teacher would sort of pop into each class and be like, all right, what are you guys doing? Try to help.
That's sick.
But it was cool, and you're sort of like left to your own devices, and like always playing on a different drum set, and sometimes you'd have like a bad amp or like a little practice amp that was, you had to really get like creative, and it made me realize sort of the logistical things of shows. You have to, it's like, what if this thing doesn't work? Then what are you going to do? Because if you don't have an answer to that, it's gonna be day 2 of touring. You're gonna be like, oh, I'm shit out of luck.
Which happens sometimes. Sometimes there's some technical things that we have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And it's happened on this tour to us a few times. So.
Yeah.
Not tonight, though.
No.
As I knock on wood. Not tonight.
I retune my snare. That means everything's gonna be amazing.
Excellent. Well, you had to because you lost a lug there.
Yeah, I did lose a lug. I popped it in my pocket. I was like, I'll remember that tomorrow. And I did.
Atheist. You've been doing a lot of bands before Atheist. What's the story of you joining Atheist? How did that all come around? I feel like it has to do with the Vox&Hops alumni, Big D.
Oh, yes. Shout out to my main man, Derek Engelman. I love that guy. I mean, I've been grinding it out in bands 15 years, going on DIY tours, making my own music videos, producing my own music, making my own albums, for a long time. So I've known Derek through Bell, and, he was in Cattle Decapitation. I'm from San Diego. I know all those guys. So I think when the gig went up, people at EMG reached out to, Mark Kleppel, who works at EMG, is also
Correct.
in Misery Index,
yeah.
friends with Derek. So I think it was just in the ether, hey, we need a drummer. And Derek's like, oh, I know who, So then from then it was like a 9-month audition process.
Really?
I mean, essentially, I mean, I made like so many. I had to like make so many videos of songs, remake videos.
Because the drummer before you was not the original drummer.
No, he was in the band for like a couple years, and he was good. And it's actually funny because during the time I was like learning all the songs, I had like almost like imagined him as like this thing I had to like defeat. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I gotta be better than the last guy, or like I gotta, And he's actually, I met him. He's an extremely nice guy and an amazing drummer. But just realizing like Kelly wanted the exact album drums. He's like, hey, you missed this iconic fill before the guitar solo. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I would learn it and I think, oh, this actually is really sick. And it made me a better drummer. I just want to do a really good job, and I love drumming, and I love just grinding it out and working on parts until you nail it, and so Kelly immediately kind of saw my work ethic and my spirit, so he, and now we're best friends.
You guys, there's a vibe on stage. I can tell. I watch. Part of my process is to watch the band before me. It makes me get really into the mood, see how the crowd's going to be that night, and there is definitely a connection between Kelly and you. He spends like at least a third of each song turning around looking at you.
Well, he's always told me, he's like, the drums are the most important part. He's like the drums and the bass are the pillar of Atheist, and he's the hardest on me. Also, there's no metronome, there's no
click.
Yeah, there's no click or any of that. So I'm really trying to conduct this like organized chaos. So he puts a lot of trust in me, and I want to come through. So and like a couple nights on tour, every venue is different. Sometimes you get some monitors that are like 80 years old and you can't hear, and then all of a sudden things aren't landing where they should. And, it's like me and Kelly are both the type of guy where if we like, miss a few things in a show, we're like pissed off. Like that day off we had in Croatia, I was pissed off all day.
There was an incident the night before.
Yeah.
Where you guys had a team meeting.
Yeah.
Right after the set.
Yeah.
But then we had to wait a whole 48 hours basically to redeem yourselves.
Yeah, I know. It's tough.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of pressure on myself, but I like that. That's what gives it significance for me.
But you're super happy on stage too.
Yeah.
It's your happy spot.
Yeah.
Dealing with this pressure.
Yeah.
While being slightly intoxicated.
No, not really. I mean, it's like
people there are some people that approach the stage a little bit more intoxicated than others.
Yeah, it's a sliding scale, and it's like sometimes you go out there and it's like, hey, there's 20 people out there. It's like, you get a little bit of liquid courage, or sometimes you get a Jaeger bomb in you to sort of dust off the cobwebs or two. But honestly, it's funny because drinking always makes me so tired.
True.
And that's like I see other people, they drink, like they start drinking in the morning and they're drinking all, and then they have all this energy and like these partiers that can like go all night and they're drinking. Like, to me, if I drink that much, I'm gonna get so exhausted. So I like kind of wish I was them. I could like drink like one or two right before, but like especially if I was like drinking beer all day, by night I'd be playing like
yeah. So you gotta get the nap then.
The nap is that's like a tricky, it's like you can't get too close to the event horizon.
No. You got to wake up
of that black hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to just like dip your toe in it.
When you're not out playing shows and doing cool stuff with music, you're a bartender.
Yeah. I'm a bartender at a tequileria in Solana Beach called Alce 101. I know all about agave, mezcal. I know some great companies that are doing. Do you know anything about tequila?
I know nothing about tequila.
It's really good.
When did this come into your life? How long you been bartending?
During COVID, it was actually my mom's idea. She's like, you should be a bartender because I've been a music teacher, for like over 10 years, and I still am. I work at a school called Music Speak Studio, which I love. But when COVID happened, I didn't know what the state of anything was, and I lost my job working in elementary schools because they took away all the enrichment because nobody was seeing each other in person. So I just figured it'd be a good thing to learn. So I literally started from the ground up there. I was a bar back, but I to me it's very. I mean, I know it's like when you're a drummer, everything's drums. But it's the same thing. It's like there's a performance aspect. It's like a song is like a drink, and when they taste it, it's got to taste good. It's got to sound good, and it's like you just got to know what the hell you're doing. And I kind of like that performance aspect of it. But yeah.
How do you deal with unruly customers?
It doesn't happen that often. You just kind of go, and then you go get the manager, then you like weasel out the back, and you kind of sheepishly go, oh, that guy was crazy, huh?
We're not fighters.
Yeah. No,
we've spoken about that the other day.
No, yeah, yeah. Any of my students that are like 8 years old, they could like take my lunch money if they wanted to, if they knew that.
How easy is it to teach drums to someone?
I think I'm a really good teacher, and I think I'm really good at kind of explaining like what to focus on, and I can get any kid playing a drum beat in 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, like anytime, like I can just...
There's no lost cause, kids.
Yeah, and also I can like, I'll write stuff on a whiteboard, and I'll just very simple, because the thing is that music notation is actually simple. It's just the way that musicians have figured out, hey, this is kind of the easiest way to portray this. So if you're writing down like simple quarter notes on a whiteboard, like little kids, they get it. And I can be like, okay, this is what you're doing. That's written down what you're doing. And they're like, oh, okay, I get it. And then I feel like I'm good at sort of putting things in a good perspective.
Very interesting.
Which I feel like is good for being a drummer too.
Is there a point now where you've taught someone and now they've gone on to do some successful things?
Absolutely. His name is Alistair Zhang. I taught him when he was 7 years old. I gave him private lessons. When we were covering Stab Wound by Necrophagist, that's when I passed him off to my friend, because I was like, I am not good enough on guitar.
Wow.
Because I taught him how to play like Iron Maiden guitar solos.
Guitar.
Yeah.
Okay, because you teach guitar and drum.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. I was teaching him guitar.
Okay.
I taught him like Iron Maiden solos, and like once we started getting into like Megadeth and the super shreddy stuff, I kind of passed him along. But then he was doing Necrophagist, and like he's now the best. Like he's I think 17, and like in 3 years he'll be the best guitarist in the world.
He's gonna get picked up.
He's amazing. Yeah.
You got him on the radar now.
Yeah. Look him up, Alistair Zhang.
I think that's super sick. That's super sick.
Yeah. I can show you that video later because we made a video. It's sick.
So you teach everything to kids.
Literally at my school, I teach guitar, bass, drums, keyboard, ukulele, and singing.
My gosh.
Yeah.
You do sing very well.
Oh, thank you.
Because as we tear down...
Yeah,
we've
it's
been putting
always
on Alice in Chains, and you're just like crushing it. You're like, I'm so warm, so I feel like I can crush this.
That's great. Except for the one time when you're like, do the scream with me, and I go, whoa!
The scream that has been plaguing my tour. The open face surgery scream. I could do it in jam, I swear to God.
Yeah.
But
it's the difference between a jog and a race. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I've come to the point where I just jump down into the crowd and scream with people.
Yeah.
So I could sneak a breath in and keep going.
Yeah.
And you were like, I think it was the night before, you're like, can I like scream with you at one point? And I was like, yeah, of course. And then I jumped down. It was in after Switzerland, the second Switzerland day.
Yeah.
And you were there, and you were like, after the show, you were like, man, I totally appreciate that scream in the wrong way.
Yeah. So dumb. Yeah. Oh my God.
Like a Wilhelm scream.
Yeah. It's like as if I was a Foley artist and it's a guy who's getting pushed down off a cliff.
I love it. Back to beer. If you could make a beer for yourself, you mentioned a blonde before as your favorite style, but if you could invent your own beer, the Dylan Marks beer, what would it be called? Maybe it's just a blonde, but what would you call it?
Okay, wow, this is great. I'd call it Dilla Cola.
Dilla Cola.
Because the first thing I thought of is I would just say, it would have to be a beer that's better than Coca-Cola. Because Coca-Cola is the most delicious thing in the entire world. And so maybe some sort of cola-esque beer.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's a thing.
I don't know if that's a thing.
Why can't it be?
It could be.
Are there alcoholic colas? Is that just like a Jack and Coke?
There's a Jack and
Okay, so my beer would be a Jack and Coke.
I wonder if a brewer could pull that off.
Why? Because cola is like a flavor, right? Like it's a thing.
Like a syrup.
It's not. It's not like a made up. It's not like the name of a beverage. Like it's an actual thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, it involved cola.
What was your relationship to Jaeger before being an atheist?
Oh, that's great. I'd had it before. it's always one of those things that you hear about that's like, oh, it's disgusting, and then you drink it and you're like, no, that's pretty good. Like, it's not that bad. It's better, it's better when you drink it with a Red Bull. So for the listener, Atheist, with the exception of Yoav, who doesn't drink, which is better than what we do. But we kind of very ceremoniously will have Jaeger bombs. I'm pretty sure on an album, like Kelly once thanked Jägermeister and like Mountain Dew or something.
He loves Jägermeister.
But
and
I mean, like, Atheist runs on Jaeger. If we're having a drink, like, we'll always have a ceremonial Jaeger bomb before a show. It's very important. And if it's not sold out, then we'll have 2.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just, yeah. It just sounded good.
Because it's sort of like, at the beginning of the tour, you guys were okay with your amount of Jaeger, but now you've inspired everyone else.
Yeah.
To also enjoy Jaeger.
Well, look, I mean, Atheist has been setting the trend for 30 years in technical metal, in beverages, you know what I mean? So people see what we're doing and they follow suit.
I heard a new Atheist track. I don't know if we could talk about this.
Wow.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this, but if there's new music being written.
Yes, we are writing new material. A few songs have been written. It sounds insane.
It sounds like Atheist.
That's cool.
Which is the very most important part of it all.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is that we're writing earnest music. Like, we're not thinking like, okay, I need an Atheist riff. We're just writing stuff that we think is really cool, extremely collaboratively, and trying to make it as interesting and as jam-packed with cool ideas as possible. And then at the end of that, we listen to it and we're like, this just sounds like the coolest Atheist song I've ever heard.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Very stoked.
So what's the plan here? What's going on? Is it?
I mean, we have a couple festival dates this year, but I mean, we're going to meet up again and write some more songs. But like, we want to record it. Because it is difficult that
you guys are all over the place.
We are all over the place.
But you guys like to write all together.
Yeah.
As opposed to the riff exchange internet way.
Yeah, which got us a lot, because we took a lot of those ideas we had been sending back and forth. I mean, like, dozens and dozens of tracks we had made.
Wow.
I put drums on like dozens of, like, Alex's ideas, Kelly's ideas, and then, we're like,
Kelly's
okay.
still writing riffs too?
Literally, he would send me a song a day.
Really?
He would send me a song a day, like a 3-minute, and like, all interesting, all
So that's
cool.
interesting, because I haven't even seen him hold a guitar on this tour yet.
Yeah. No, he plays guitar every single day.
Really?
And because he like
I know, I know that, but then, but he seems to have been like so stepped away from that identity.
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and I haven't seen him hold a guitar backstage or noodle around.
Yeah. Well, he is lefty.
Oh, that might be it.
But it's
okay.
like, for instance, when he came to San Diego, we bought a lefty guitar, and it's at my house, so it's like, he has a lefty guitar. He has like all these lefty guitars stashed all over the world for whenever. Yeah.
For his convenience.
Yeah. But it's cool because it's like, for me, especially as a drummer, like, it's like, I don't know if it's drummer's ego or something, but I'm always trying to write like the most exciting, most creative things that I can, and you're usually pretty proud of yourself. So then when Kelly goes, okay, like, that's a cool drum beat, but like, instead of doing it 4 times, can we do it 2 times? Can you do like something cooler, like, for the other 2? And in my mind, I'm like, that was cool. You know what I mean? So it took me a while to get over that. But then every time we would try his idea, we're like, ooh, instead of that harmony with the 2 guitars go up, can the one guitar go up and the other guitar go down? Like, he would always just insert all these cool ideas. And then when we grind
makes it even
on
more
him,
and more Atheist.
Yeah, and when we grind them and like figure them out, it would be like, you got to give it to, like, that's hands down way cooler,
Interesting.
So I was describing the writing process almost as like, I felt like everything was slipping through my fingers, because I like had this cool idea in my head, but we've already like tried this other idea, and now we've written another section, and then, you know what I mean? And it's like all of ideas, it was so fast, because we all have like so many ideas, because all 5 of us write, all
That's
5
amazing.
of us sing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I also wanted to do like I thought it'd be cool to do like a crazy acapella.
Yeah.
No, but what if there's like an acapella track, like evil and dark and beautiful, and I don't know.
A section that comes.
Yeah. By the way, I have 0 ideas. I'm just saying I thought it'd be cool if that happened.
Is there a point now? Because I know with Chris in Cryptopsy, for a long time, he would be like, Flo, this is your band. And Flo would be like, no, this is your band too. Yeah. have you at this point taken on that entity of Atheist is my band?
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
Good. Yeah.
100%. I told Kelly, because also this is my favorite type of stuff to drum. Jazzy, metal, obnoxious, loud, you know what I mean? And it's like, I told Kelly after I'd made like enough videos and we'd known each other for like months, I was like, bro, no one is taking this job. Like, I'm the last drummer. Like, I will destroy anyone who thinks that they can do this job. Like, I'm gonna keep getting better. I'm gonna keep, you know what I mean? Like, from the very beginning, I was like, this is my job, because this is the type of music I was born to play. Like, this is the exact stuff that I like. When we're writing stuff, you know, all I'm worried about is like, am I putting myself in there? Am I making this as cool and exciting as it can be? And it's funny, I used to think I was stubborn, but I actually realized that I just hadn't really come across that many people whose like musical opinion I actually cared about. You know what I mean? So now I'm at the point where when Kelly says an idea or something, I'm like, hey, you know what? You've achieved all the things that I want to do, so yes, I'm going to listen to you.
Let's try it. At least try it. Yeah.
You know? So
I have a segment called Fight the Hops.
Okay.
Where I ask my guests a very short-term goal, something that you're hoping to accomplish for yourself. Could be musically, could be personally, that you would like to accomplish within the next month, 2 months. What are you doing right now to fight the hops?
Man, in the next 1 or 2 months. I mean, I just moved in with my girlfriend the day before I went on tour, which I'm very happy and excited about. But I just want to like get the house, like, you know,
settled.
I feel like I haven't been there. You know what I mean? I want to like.
I've done that before. We bought our condo, and then I went straight to Europe.
Yeah. So I just want to like. Live there. You know what I mean? Like,
and maybe not in a bus with 20 other guys.
Hey, you know what? For being in a bus, you ever been in a bus with this many people?
I have, but it's very quiet and zen.
Yeah,
it's the most zen bus I've ever been on.
That's cool. Well, we're all like music nerds, so it's like, you know, we're not that screaming.
Well, I see like you guys like party earlier in the night and then you go to bed. Whereas Cryptops, we have a few beers and we party a little bit after our show.
Yeah, it's funny. After there were a couple of nights we'd like hang out after the club, like after we leave the club, and like I kept going with you guys until like 5 a.m. But then the next day I'd like sleep until 3 and like need a nap, and
the
it's like
gone.
You know, so it's funny. I've actually been. I used to go to like sleep at like 5 every night on tour.
Okay,
and now it's like creeping up. It's like 3, 2:30.
I follow Dom. I like when Dom goes to bed, I go to bed.
Really?
I try to do that because he always makes the right decisions.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great.
He's mature.
That's a great compliment.
Very, very. I told him on the podcast I did with him. He's a very, very mature drinker. He sort of like sees when there's nothing more fun that's going to happen.
That reminds me of like a thing my parents would always say to me when I was like 18 and like just started going out, and like when like they said nothing good happens between 3 and 5 a.m.
Totally,
nothing.
I agree.
Don't go to anything that is like there's nothing good happening.
Totally agree. I would even put at 1 a.m. like in my older age now.
Yeah,
but yeah, totally. Last question, classic Vox and Hops wrap up question. It hasn't really happened too often on this tour as of yet. Maybe after the Museberg, the first Swiss show with that wonderful gentleman that I spat fire. What was that city called?
In Martigny.
Yes,
with Muffy.
So Muffy,
at the Sunset
thank you so
Club.
much. Yes, so. The next day was rough, you know, so I'd like to know what your hangover cure is.
Ooh, that's good. Okay, well, I mean, you know, the adage, a good one is a joint. That will often put things good. I'm not a, like, start drinking again kind of guy.
It never fixes anything.
No, I say laying low, and because for me, I have like a slow metabolism. Like I'm eating like one meal a day and just expanding at the rate of the universe. So I don't know what's going on, but to me, it's like people say like eat something greasy, but if I eat something like really greasy at the beginning of the day, I'm toast. So I would think like eat something like meaty, not greasy. because it's like if you feel good and eat something greasy, you'll feel bad. So why, when you feel bad, you eat something greasy, you'll just feel worse.
It's true.
That's how I think about it.
This is smart. Dylan, thank you so much for hanging out with me, talking about your life, talking about music, talking a little about craft beer, talking a lot about our very, very successful and super fun tour that we're on, the Unquestionable Blasphemy Tour, which is continuing tonight in Ghent. We're going to keep hanging out, but not with people listening.
Yes, that's true.
Cheers.
Can I do some plugs?
Go for it.
So I'm in multiple bands. I mean, I love Atheist, but also I'm in a band called Beekeeper, a 3-piece thrash metal band, beekeepermetal.com. You can buy everything, all of our music. Also, I'm in a band called Fermenter, 2-piece instrumental. I played that for you.
I like that very much, yeah.
Yeah, we just put out an album, put out some music videos. That's fermenterband.com. And then, there's going to be more things coming from those bands and more things from Atheist. And my own social media is Dylan Marks Music on all the stuff. So hope you can find it. But it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much. You rule, dude. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. Man, did I ever enjoy spending a month with Dylan. We just kicked it off. He's one of those people that is just so sweet, such a great musician, so much fun to be around, just positive energy, and it just radiated throughout the entire tour. We just connected, and I can feel that we're going to be friends for a very long time. Massive cheers to you, Dylan. Very excited for all your projects, all the music that you're doing. Fermenter, Beekeeper, the brand new Atheist material, which is very excited that I heard a track of. And there was a lot of talks in the bus of it coming up soon. So I'm excited for you guys to accomplish that and to get it out there and for the rest of the world to hear it as well. Massive, massive cheers, Dylan. Thank you so much for just being awesome. Now, if you enjoyed this Vox and Hops episode, you should sign up to the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast's mailing list. You can do that by going to my website, voxandhops.com. That's VOXANDHOPS.com. And when you do that, you shall receive one email a week that will contain all of the details of everything that has happened recently in the world of Vox and Hops. You will get to see which episodes I dropped. You will get to see which episodes I have coming up. You will also get to hear about anything that is going on in the world of Cryptopsy, such as our upcoming tours, exclusive merch drops, and little hints at secret things that we have coming down the pipeline. You will also get to see which albums the Vox and Hops album review crew have reviewed recently, and you'll get to see which albums Jerry Monk, Vox and Hops' Metal Architect, has added to the Brutal Awakenings playlist. The Brutal Awakenings playlist is jam-packed with all of the freshest, best new metal releases. Trust me, if you are looking for some new music in your life, the Brutal Awakenings playlist will have you covered. It's available on both Apple Music and Spotify, so you should definitely check it out. So please do me a favor and sign up to the mailing list. The Vox and Hops Metal Podcast is brought to you by Sound Talent Media and Evergreen Podcasts. I hope you have a killer rest of the week. I will be back next week with another episode on Tuesday, but until then, remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.